WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Enough is enough, and it's time for a change!
I can't believe I'm putting my voice to this.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Thank you for your irrelevant opinion.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
The first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say. I'm a broadcast journalist. I have a right to my opinion.
Oh, son of a...
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary.
There's the sound of the bell, and we are off. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. I'm your host, Fearon, and we're talking Royal Rumble weekend. That's right, it's here. It's one of my favorite weekends of the year. Looking forward to it, and a lot to get into. I've got the first prediction certain to go wrong of 2014 alongside Lucas the intern.
How you doing, guys?
And, of course, Nick Cataldi.
Hey.
Pushing buttons, turning dials.
Nay.
Did you like that last week? I worked your...
Yes, I really appreciate that. I meant to tell you. I really did. That was really nice of you. I was going to do it myself.
Yeah.
I was actually going to jump in myself and go, yay, but you.
In pre-production, I was able to put it together.
Ever the master that you are, you did it. Thank you very much.
There's a drop for later. Oh, wow. Well, I guess we'll start with the Rumble. We'll go right into it. The match is set up for tomorrow. Man, there's a lot going on. First of all, the Rumble panel. That actually has me excited. All former winners of the Rumble on the panel. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who won in 95 and 96, as well as 92 and 88, respectively.
Yeah, which is it's a pretty good point. Like you said earlier, it's like a lot of these guys are either all these guys have won the Rumble, and you can't get a lot of other people because either dead, still active, or with another company.
Yeah, we were kind of going through the list, just kind of offhand off the air before we got on here, and that's about as good as you're going to get. I mean, maybe you could get Bret Hart, who was a co-winner in 94, but then people probably wonder, what happened to Luger? And I don't know. Maybe that's the road WWE doesn't want to go down. But the kickoff match, usually they're kind of a throwaway thing. This one I'm really excited for. Goldust and Cody Rhodes, as they've been calling themselves the Brotherhood, defending the tag titles against the New Age Outlaws.
I think the Rhodes brothers are going to win, no question.
Yeah, lately it's been more of the Old Age Outlaws.
Yeah. I mean, I love Jesse James. That's probably my favorite outlaw. Billy Gunn, I just don't like him. For sure. Like, I like him, but it's just, I could do without him. Jesse James, I like.
They paired well together. I mean, when they were, here we go, quick history lesson. When they were brought together, it was kind of convenience because both guys were kind of fledgling. I mean, Jesse James, prior to pairing up with Billy Gunn,
he was the roadie for Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, but Jarrett left for WCW, and they kind of, they had him coming out singing "With My Baby Tonight," and that was about it. And then Billy Gunn, once the Smoking Guns broke up, I mean, they had him for a little bit as rockabilly, kind of the.
Bart went with Hardcore Holly, and then Billy Gunn went with Jesse James after that whole. And then Billy Gunn went with Chuck Palumbo, which was just.
Well, that was 2002. That was after the fact.
That was just sad.
That's a whole other topic for another day, though. But regardless, the Outlaws, I don't know. Should I give the prediction certain to go wrong now? Should we roll them out? Why not?
Yeah,
we'll go ahead and roll them out. Get them out of the way. All right, I'm going with the Brotherhood retaining the titles.
Me too.
Pretty much in agreement there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of matches on the card here. Now, of course, to the actual pay-per-view, only 4 advertised matches. Granted, one of them is the Rumble match.
Yeah.
The Big Show against Brock Lesnar. How can you... Yeah, I was going to say, Lesnar's going to lead up to a big Mania match, so he'll probably decimate Big Show here. Daniel Bryan, who we initially thought had a concussion. Apparently, it's not as bad as we thought. He's going to take on Bray Wyatt, and we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. But I'm actually going with Wyatt on this one.
I'm going to agree with you on this one because it's the fact that I'm going to talk about this later, but there's 3 possible ways of the Rumble ending. And then there's a 4th. I got to give a shout-out to my friend from Pennsbury. But we'll talk about that later. I'll agree with you with Wyatt on that one.
Yeah, it possibly leading to things for later. The WWE World, All Everything Heavyweight Championship, Global, I'm trying to think of other. I'm going to have to come up with like 15 names because it seems like that's what they put together. But Randy Orton defending against John Cena. Now, I picked Cena last month and was wrong, and I threw a stat about a month and a half or so ago, maybe even 2 months ago, that this will now be the 9th time, I believe, that they have faced each other on pay-per-view.
So now it's going to be Cena.
One-on-one.
It's got to be Cena.
And it's alternated each time.
So I feel like, what's going to happen is this is like a pre-exposure or a pre-prediction. I was
going to say, yeah.
I don't know why I said pre-exposure, but it's going to be...
Please, this is a family show.
But
keep going.
Yeah, you got to drop. I think it's going to be Cena's going to win this month. Then they're going to have them paired up again. Cena versus Orton, Elimination Chamber. Like, do they still do the Elimination Chambers for the title, or is it just not? Like, what's the point of that? I don't even think they get contender shots anymore for that.
Well, what they did last year was they had one Elimination Chamber match, and that was to determine the number 1 contender for the other title that hadn't been determined by the Rumble.
And didn't that wasn't that?
But now that they're
Swagger
unified,
won that, didn't he? Swagger won the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, that threw everybody for a loop.
Yeah,
and that's why you had the Mania match of what was it, Swagger and
a match that nobody wanted to see, nor did they ask for.
Swagger and Del Rio, was it?
Yeah.
You'd think I'd remember this because I was there.
Yeah, it's just a match that nobody wanted to see, nor did they ask for, nor did they expect.
But it was WrestleMania, so people were just excited to see it.
It's like, yeah, it's WrestleMania. Who cares? But I think it's going to be Orton's going to win an Elimination Chamber, and then Cena's going to win at WrestleMania, unless.
Wait, so you're saying that we're going to have 2 more months after this of Cena Orton?
I'm not sure, but anything could happen in the WWE, as JR would say.
Well, as a lot of people have said. I don't know. I'm thinking Cena retains the title here, and now the Royal Rumble match.
It's retains. He doesn't have the title.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Cena would win. Well, he wins the match. Does he win the title, though?
Yeah,
You have to realize I'm running on no sleep, so bear with me if I throw a word or two out there that...
I'll talk about my other Cena prediction later. I'll say Cena wins this one, so we're all in agreement.
Very well played.
Except for Nick, who's probably going to pick Dominic DeNucci to win the match.
I was pulling for Victor Rivera, actually.
There you go.
But that's okay. But
throwing a
curveball. He's always a
he's a money bet. He's a safe money bet. Speaking of bets, we'll talk about that a little bit. Royal Rumble wagers. They're actually out there. We'll talk about that. I kid you not. All right, we'll give the predictions for the Royal Rumble match, and then we'll get to the phones real quick because we've got a doozy on the line there. All right, so there are 20 announced participants, and of the 30, that's a little bit odd. CM Punk is entrant 1. He's one of the prohibitive favorites, as is Batista. Of the advertised names, really, those are the only 2 that jump out at me. I'm going to go with Batista because it seems to make the most sense. But of the names not advertised, it wouldn't surprise me, and this is why I picked Bray Wyatt earlier, for Daniel Bryan to be a surprise entrant in the Rumble and come in and win it. Because as soon as that Ride of the Valkyries hits from that countdown, the crowd in Pittsburgh will go absolutely bat-ass crazy.
Do you think he's going to come in at number 30?
It could be possible. I could see him as a fairly late entry. It also depends on what point they put the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match. Yeah. If they open up the pay-per-view with that, then they could put him really anywhere. But with the rumored concussion thing, they may not necessarily want to have him go for too long or take too many hits. So there's a lot of factoring with it.
As DX would say, break it down for my Rumble predictions. Yeah, I'm throwing a lot of references out there. So I'm gearing up for the network, but So what I'm saying, there's 4 possible predictions of what could go down. It could be Punk wins it at number 1. And I guess he could be the only person to ever do that, wink, wink.
Well, no, other than Shawn Michaels from 95.
Yeah.
Well, how can you forget the Heartbreak Kid?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was forgetting somebody else, but, who knows? But...
We don't discuss those things.
Yeah, I know. But,
moving on.
Okay, so CM Punk wins. Batista comes in, wins. Daniel Bryan comes in and wins. Or I got it. I don't think this. I want Daniel Bryan or Batista to win for some reason. I want Daniel Bryan to win more, or CM. I really want any of the three to win. I really don't care as long as one of them wins. But I got to give a shout out to my friend Jordan, or as he likes to be known as, Jordy Football at Pennsbury High School. He gave me this prediction, and I have to shout it out for him. Cena loses the match. He comes in as a surprise entrant and wins the Rumble, tying Austin's record.
And being a 3-time winner?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it could happen. I'm not saying that it won't happen. It could. It's a possibility, but I don't want it to happen. Because the fact that I love Cena to death, but I want somebody.
There are some strange possibilities, and we'll get into those coming up in a little bit. But for now, let's go ahead and fire up the Gentner. There you go, Nick. As we've got on the line, we've got a dial tone, apparently. There we go. How about all the way over from England, the great Harry Barnett?
I had nothing to do with that dial tone. Don't blame it on me.
One hell of an introduction there, Fearon, as always.
We had to clear everybody else out to make room for you. That's what it was. That was hence the dial tone. I am making things up as I go along.
Well, come on, I expect that sort of thing out of Lucas. But anyway, I did...
You're crossing the line.
Sorry, Harry, go ahead.
Well, you're talking about Royal Rumble predictions. I've got 2 Royal Rumble predictions. But the first prediction is that I will not be an entrant. Just to clear that up, that I will not be an entrant, nor will I be winning. Secondly, the winner will be Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar?
Definitive on it, it will be Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar will attack someone, enter the match, and then win.
Well, there's certainly there's certainly a fair share of entrants that he could attack and take out. It's not exactly a strong field. I mean, you've got Xavier Woods, for example. I mean, Kofi Kingston, he'll probably have some sort of acrobatic save as he has had the last couple of years. Fandango's in there. The Usos. I mean, he could probably take one of them. There are possibilities, or one of the 10 that haven't been announced yet.
Yeah, definitely.
The 10 surprises.
I can see the tears running down Lucas's face right now, as I said that I am not an entrant. Although we pretty much every single person ordering the pay-per-view, other than Lucas, already knew that. But
it's a shame too. I just got my tickets to Pittsburgh. I was getting ready to enter the Rumble so I could kick Harry's behind.
Glove save and a butte.
But there was one other thing before I go, because I wanted to drop by as I had the time to say hello to you guys, but I wanted to put a date out there, and then I was going to leave. And that's 11/7/15. You guys have a good day.
Well, before you roll out there, Harry, one quick question. I threw it out there on the Facebook. Oh, we lost him. I was going to ask him his favorite moments. Oh, well. He likes to leave on his own terms, does Harry Barnett?
And he likes to blame it on me, too. I think that Harry Barnett does.
Oh, goodness. All right. Let's...
Good.
All right, let's talk about a couple other... we're up against it, aren't we? All right, we'll talk on the other side. We'll talk Batista's return from this past Monday and put on our fashionista hats a little bit, because the apparel of Batista was rather questionable, to say the least. And also Daniel Bryan, now out of the Wyatt family. We'll talk about that as well. Plus, we've got room for more of your calls, your thoughts, your feedback. We'll get to that on the other side. Looking to know some of your favorite Royal Rumble moments. We've got a few here. Eric from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Ryan, as well as Dan from Chicago. We'll get to those on the other side. Plus, quite a few bits of stories, including, for your entertainment purposes, Royal Rumble Bingo. We'll talk about that in a little bit. WWE stock climbing. And
plus, don't forget a very special today in wrestling history.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later as well. There's so much to do here. Royal Rumble weekend. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon Derry.
It's the best time of the year for a wrestling fan, hands down.
It's time to rumble!
It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. The longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
Wow, I didn't know Michael Cole was just sitting right next to me. How you doing? I thought you were gearing up for the Rumble.
Yeah, my orange singlet's out in the car.
Oh,
See
God.
what you did? Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh.
See what you started? Good job.
You rat.
Nah, we had one of those a while ago. We got rid of it for good reason.
All
right, let's... Where the heck do we go here? All right. Well, you know, I was asked. I had asked on Facebook, and as I'd mentioned before the break, a few people responded. Favorite Royal Rumble memories. We'll go to some on the Facebook feedback. First of all, Eric from the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Mine has to be the whole 1992 Rumble match. Flair winning and Bobby Heenan's commentary made it gold. Which, yes, it did. And also in 95, HBK winning as number one, being the first guy to do so. The moment was awesome. The one thing that kind of jumps out at me from that, which I guess not a lot of people seem to mention or make note of, was that was, to my knowledge, the only Rumble where superstars came to the ring every minute. They cut the time in half. So he only spent a little over a half hour in the ring. I don't know. Does it necessarily deplete the accomplishment? That's, I guess, for you to decide. Ryan, I knew Ryan was going to go with this. Way too many to list, but personal favorites have to be the entire 2001 Rumble with my boy Kane. Knew that was coming. Dominating the Rumble, as well as the ladder match. And the following year, Triple H coming back, his showdown with Austin, and then winning the Rumble, just to name a couple. So it's amazing how generational you have different Rumble moments. And then Dan from Chicago, my moment was when The Undertaker got beaten in the casket match against Yokozuna. That's when 15 guys beat up The Undertaker. I think it was more like 9 or 10, but yeah, that was the 94 Rumble, the casket match for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And yeah, you had, oh gosh, like Jeff Jarrett was out there. I think the Head Shrinkers, and I think Quang might have even been a part of that. I think Diesel as well. There were just a litany of guys, Bam Bam Bigelow, and they all beat on The Undertaker and put him in the casket.
I think I got to say two moments. One I haven't even seen yet, but I just want to see it because I think it's one of the most heartwarming, even though it was like a botched sort of storyline, was Rey Mysterio winning the Rumble. It's like, you know, you got people that you're friends with since you've been like that are just like brothers to you, and then you finally win for them and stuff. It's like it's just a heartwarming story. And then Cena returns 2008 to win the Rumble.
Ah, yes, that was the last time I think that fans pretty much wholeheartedly cheered Cena. It was such a surprising moment. It was though fans forgot to boo.
I forgot two more. Sorry, and this will be quick. Hardy's match against Orton at 2008, and then the next year where Matt Hardy betrays Jeff Hardy, setting up the Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania 25.
Ah, yes. I remember them somewhat well. There's a lot that goes on in this noggin, most of which people probably shouldn't know.
I hear it rattling around. You know.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know when you shake the spray can before
right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what.
I have an important question. Do any of these guys ever have regular names anymore? Like years ago, we had like Bill White and Frank Williams, and Frankie Williams, people like that. Do they have regular names anymore? Or?
Well, there are a few. Cody Rhodes. That's
even Cody Rhodes isn't regular. Cody is not a regular.
Well,
John Cena.
That's his actual first name.
I guess John Cena. Okay,
John Cena.
Yeah, okay, I'm just wondering.
Steve Austin. That's a.
Well,
yeah, okay, I go with that.
His real name was Steve Williams, so there was a little bit of derivation. But there was already a Steve Williams in wrestling at the time, Dr. Death Steve Williams, so he had to change his name.
All right, so I guess I stand corrected.
Yeah, Bret Hart. The various Hart family members, the Guerreros.
Boy Smith. Well, actually, no. That's a bad example. My bad.
No, not really.
Randy Orton.
You guys,
Randy Orton.
You know what? You answered my question. I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Sort of wrong. I guess
you're informed now.
I was informed then. I just didn't think of it. But I've been reinformed.
You've been reinformed. There you go.
Yes.
Kept to the current.
Yes, there you go.
But yes, for all of those regular names,
speed.
you've also got the goofball names such as Xavier Woods and Damian Sandow and names that are WWE assigned, so that way they can hold on to that trademark. So that's where a lot of that comes from.
Well, I used to wonder if Hulk Hogan's mother really named him Hulk,
No, his name was
Terry.
Terry. Yeah.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Well, back in the late 70s, Lou Albano brought in his latest find was the Wild Samoans.
Yes.
And for a while there, they went by Samoan number 1 and Samoan number 2, and I used to wonder, did they sign their checks that way? Later on, it became
before they was Alpha and Sika.
Right. Yes.
Wow. All right. So let's go back to this Monday on Raw. The big hype about the return of Batista, and he's been out for about 4 years now from WWE. Dabbled with mixed martial arts for a bit. Did some acting. Little play fighting here going on in the studio with kind of almost emulating.
I'm a real killer.
Emulating Brutus Beefcake and the Genius from back in 1990.
Oh God, that's my Genius impression. Pretty.
It needs a little work.
He was a fruit, wasn't he?
Get tired of him.
Well, not in the derogatory term, but he was just like.
Well, I think even Jesse Ventura at the time referred to the Genius's character as being light in the loafers, which was apparently acceptable back in 1990. The crowd at the time, though, I think they had a considerably more derogatory chant toward the Genius, if my memory serves me right.
God.
From
well, he was a jobber.
Did it rhyme with
prior
sagging?
to that?
Yes, it did, and that's as far as we're going to go with that. But where we will go is to this past Monday on Raw, Randy Orton in the ring with Triple H and Stephanie, and all of a sudden out comes the man himself, the Animal, Batista.
Hello, Randy. So I understand that you have a few questions about my return. Let me make this as simple as possible, and let me explain to you why I'm back. For that, so whether it's you or John Cena or someone else, I don't care. I'm back. To win the Royal Rumble match on Sunday. I'm back to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And I am back to headline WrestleMania. So deal with it.
Batista making no bones about it. The stage is set. Batista is coming for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Will Randy Orton walk through Batista? Will he walk through John Cena tonight?
Well, we'll find out. Will Batista win the Rumble? He certainly seems like the odds-on favorite.
Yeah.
And actually, speaking of that, apparently if you want to, there's some overseas betting. You can actually wager on the Royal Rumble, oddly enough. And apparently if you if you have those kind of shekels to throw down, you could even bet on a particular NFL star to win the Rumble. That's right. After 2013 delivered Redditor user Dolphins 1925's WWE pay-per-view predictions and the link to match betting, 2014 off to an equally interesting start. An Irish betting book has listed outspoken NFL star Richard Sherman, there's a name that you've heard over the course of the past week, as an option to place a bet on to win the Royal Rumble match. That'd be a hell of a surprise.
What's the betting line?
Well, whether it's included as a joke or by request, Sherman is listed as a 300-1 favorite to win the Rumble.
Oh, they'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that he's possibly not even scheduled to appear, that's... Wow. Now, the next lowest odds, you've got 100-1 for Curtis Axel, Xavier Woods, Seth Rollins, and former champions Jack Swagger and The Miz. Ouch. The clear favorite to win the Rumble, Dave Bautista, as I mentioned, carrying 8-11 odds. So, yeah, not that I'm a big betting man, but that pretty much means you'd have to bet a lot to make a little. That's how much of a favorite he is. Daniel Bryan isn't even officially in the Rumble, but he's got 3-1 odds, and then CM Punk after that at 7-2, and Roman Reigns at 8-1.
Wow, Roman Reigns! I forgot about him. He could be a.
He's a dark horse.
I mean, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna win this year, but like, he's definitely somebody to watch for the future Rumbles.
He could be that guy who has the impressive showing, maybe mauls through about 5 guys in the Rumble, and just comes out standing tall, looking impressive, kind of like what they did with Diesel in '94. I mean, they've done it a few times before, and it's been done very well. Now, notable wrestlers listed as options to bet on include Sheamus. There's a name we haven't heard in a while. His odds are 33-1. Hulk Hogan. That'd be interesting. All of a sudden, you hear Real American going off.
Yeah, but he would.
I know it would clearly be for a nostalgia pop, and I don't think he'd be able to take that over the top rope to the floor bump. That's the concern there. The Undertaker, that's another listing, 40-1. I don't know if he's coming back just for that. And 66-1 odds, you've got Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Wow.
I don't think they're going to waste that here. Mark Henry, he's been out with an injury for a little bit, and Chris Jericho.
None of these
even though Jericho's been denying vehemently that he has nothing to do with the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season because he's got too much going on. He said that before. You know what? I'll take it at face value this time, and I'd rather be genuinely surprised if he does show up rather than expect him to show up and be disappointed.
Yeah.
And Jericho kind of added to it. He joked about his odds of winning the Rumble via Twitter. He said, wow, me, Austin, and Henry all have 66-1 odds of winning the Royal Rumble. Maybe we should combine forces to have 22-1 odds. I don't know if that's exactly how the math works, but why not? We'll roll with it. In other news, Ric Flair, as I mentioned, he is part of the Rumble pre-show panel, and he's forced to cancel a gig that I talked about a couple weeks ago. There's fallout from Flair being announced for the Rumble pre-show All-Star panel Sunday. He canceled his appearance as the Grand Marshal for that CRA Speed Fest down in Cordell, Georgia, tomorrow. According to a report, he was forced to drop out when WWE decided to use him at the Rumble pay-per-view. He said, to the fans, crew, and drivers, I profusely apologize that I won't be able to be at the race, but hope everyone still heads out to Watermelon Capital Speedway this weekend to support my buddy David Ragan at Zaxby's Speedfest 2014, Flair saying in a statement. Flair lives in the Atlanta area and was scheduled to appear at the professional race because he is friends with Ragan, whose uncle owns the track in Cordell. But instead, Flair will be in Pittsburgh talking Royal Rumble next to Shawn Michaels and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Not a bad gig, I'd say. Definitely not a bad gig. All right, well, another turn of development. We've talked about Daniel Bryan quite a bit, and he got the chance to explain why he left the Wyatt family so quickly after he signed up with them a few weeks ago. And we've got that for you right here.
And some people say I shouldn't be the face of this company.
What an ugly face.
You know, after Raw last week, a lot of people have come up to me and asked me, Daniel, when you joined the Wyatts, did you have a plan? I think you people already figured it out. You see, because to take down a guy with a Messiah complex, it's not enough to take him down physically. You have to take him down mentally. And to do that, I had to do some things that I'm not proud of. I had to keep some of my friends in the dark. I had to absorb the punishment of indoctrination to be a part of the family. And worst of all, I had to stand side by side with three men who I absolutely despise to just wait for that one moment. And that moment came last week inside of a steel cage when I got Bray Wyatt one-on-one. And I know they're big fans of saying follow the buzzards, but guess what? Daniel Bryan doesn't follow anybody. And last week, I became the buzzard, and I chewed on the carcass of Bray Wyatt. You know, Bray, this is for you. You like to talk about fate, but the truth is this. I exposed you. And this Sunday at the Royal Rumble, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, because right before I came out here, I was informed that Harper and Rowan are actually going to be in the Royal Rumble match, which is perfect, because that leaves Bray Wyatt to go one-on-one with me. Yes! 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 Yes!
Careful what you ask for.
Not willing to die for something is not fit to live. Where I come from, being a traitor is a sin of the highest order, man. You did not expose me like you think, Brian. You only exposed yourself. For only a coward would use his free wings to fly right back into the cage where he came from. And these people, these animals, oh, how they rewarded you. They cheered for you, Brian, as you stamped me out, as you battered me, Brian. Traitor. Petty sheep. They only look up to you, Brian, because they chose to kneel. Traitor. And what I want you to do now is I want you to go home and I want you to hug your mother. I want you to tell her you love her. I want you to tell her you're sorry. Because everything that happens to you from now on is your fault.
Yeah, that's some creepy stuff. That is Bray Wyatt. All right. Let's take care of our second bit of business. We'll come back. We'll get to the phones. We got Ed from Northeast Philly on the line, as well as Steve from Bristol. We'll get them right up on the other side. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, January 25. On this date in 1995, WCW held its Clash of the Champions 30 Supercard. In the main event, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage defeated Kevin Sullivan and The Butcher in a tag team match. On this date in 1997, WCW held its NWO Sold Out pay-per-view. In the main event, Hulk Hogan fought the Giant to a no contest in a match for Hogan's WCW World Heavyweight Championship. On this date in 2004, WWE held its Royal Rumble pay-per-view. In the main event, won the 30-man Royal Rumble match. On this date in 2009, WWE held its Royal Rumble pay-per-view. In the main event, Randy Orton won the 30-man Royal Rumble match. This has been Today in Wrestling History, January 25. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. I have a hunch that if Dan from Chicago is listening, he's probably throwing furniture right about now. The censoring of Chris Benoit. 10 years ago today was the 2004 Royal Rumble. I was at it live, although WWE tries to sweep that under the rug. Well, not the fact that I was there live, but the fact that it happened at all.
Oh, yeah. We're just anarchying with Fearon. We're not letting him get any publicity.
Of course not. But somebody we will give publicity to. Ed from the Northeast. Ed, what's going on?
Good afternoon. Be careful driving out there today.
Yeah, we got a little more of that white, cold stuff out there.
It's a mess out there. Anyway, ROH comes to Philly February 21st and 22nd at the Northeast Armory.
Ah, yes. Not too far down the road from me, the Armory Guard there. Nice place nice venue for a wrestling show. Been there a couple times.
And in Easton they have NPWD. I forget what that's called. At the Palmer Center. I'm going to look that up later on.
Hopefully the show's not tonight.
1st. No, February 1st at 1 p.m. Oh, that's
okay, next week.
Day.
Yes.
Day, yeah.
Yeah, great way to celebrate it.
And Extreme Rising comes to Philadelphia too in South Philly.
Yes, the Arena, as it's been renamed like 18 different times.
Yes.
The old ECW Arena, the Alhambra Arena, all those names.
Doubleheader in 2 weeks in Voorhees, February 8th.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. In fact, tonight I'll actually be heading down after getting a little nap here, down to Paulsboro, New Jersey. Monster Factory Pro Wrestling. Looking forward to that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes.
And when is that George's?
Yes. Caitlin. I mentioned it on last week's show. Yeah, the former WWE Divas champion Caitlin.
Write it down. What day is that?
I was going to say I'm having a brief mental lapse myself. Yeah.
February 15th.
February 15th. That's right.
Also the day of our 15th anniversary.
Thanks.
That's right. Yeah, February 15th. That is from noon to 3 at the Oxford Valley Mall, right there by the Sears Court on the lower level. I'm sure they're going to have a big setup going on there.
There's something else going on that day?
Last week. I heard it last week, but I forgot to write it down on my calendar.
Not a problem. That's 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 weeks from today. That's going to be, and that's also going to be a notable show for this here. We will celebrate 15 years on the air. That's right. February 13th is actually the 15-year celebration. I don't want to say 15th anniversary because that's WWE math.
And WWE in Trenton in March.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, 2 weeks before Mania, they're going to be at the Sunbank Center in Trenton, and I've got my sales staff, my good buddy Bill Redner. He's going to see what he can do about working on some stuff for us leading up to that. But
I guess you're not having anything in Philly for Road to WrestleMania.
Doesn't look like it. But then again, they just had SmackDown earlier this month. So they probably won't be back until, I would say late spring, maybe early summer.
Yeah, can't be too greedy.
No, this is true. Although we've certainly had our share of almosts, but such is Philadelphia. All right, Ed, thanks so much for chiming in. Appreciate it. And, be careful out there in the snow. Actually, one pay-per-view that's not going to be in Philly is going to be the Payback pay-per-view. That'll be on June 1st in Chicago, Illinois. Another pay-per-view in Chicago, CM Punk's hometown.
It's the second year in a row Payback's been in Chicago.
This is very true, yes. That's according to Luis Gomez of ChicagoTribune.com. Let's go ahead and get... let's get Steve from Bristol up. He's been... There we go. Steve, we got you here?
How's it going?
Not too bad. Clearing the lines for you, too. There we go.
Is Vinny back in the back of his mind? Do you think you'd be afraid to put Batista and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania based on what Brock did at the last WrestleMania he was in?
Well, I think the issue is, are you talking about in a one-on-one match, or are you talking about for the title?
One-on-one match. I figure, like you and Lucas were saying, they're going to keep letting Cena and Orton go right through WrestleMania. But I figure the winner of Brock Lesnar, Batista, whoever it is, doesn't matter, attacks the champ the next night on Raw, and then they build that up to SummerSlam.
Oh, that's certainly a long ways away. Plus, you have the issue of I don't know how many appearances. Once WrestleMania is done and over with, I have a hunch that Brock Lesnar is going to head back on up to his fishing and hunting and everything else up in Minnesota, as well as his sable that he's got.
Well, you know what I hope happens at this pay-per-view? Maybe just a wish. Batista wins. The lights go out. Guess who shows up?
Taker.
Kurt Angle, Larry Zbyszko, and Bruno Sammartino in the ring. And Bruno says, "You're not even the best guy here in Pittsburgh." And then they just attack him. And then afterwards, Bruno says, "Thank you, Triple H. That was what you had to do to get me into the Hall of Fame. Now we're all even."
That, I was going to say highly unlikely in the words of the late, great Gorilla Monsoon, I think would be the understatement.
I think Vince would have a heart attack.
A heart attack, an aneurysm, and a stroke at the same time. Are you kidding me?
And then he'd say, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm retired. This was Triple H's idea. You're a fire."
Well, JR got retired, and look what it's done for him. Now he's working for Fox Sports.
Well, It's always a step up when you move away from Vince.
You got Nick Cataldi cracking up at that.
It's the truth. It's almost as far-fetched as you bringing Hogan in and taking out Batista. It has to be somebody that we forgot about or Vince doesn't want.
Yeah, I don't know. I think while there's still a breath in Vince's body, he's going to run things his way, and Triple H is going to steer along the beaten path, although give him credit for reaching out to Bruno, reaching out to the Ultimate Warrior.
That's the thing. When you said who should introduce Ultimate Warrior, there's only one guy, and I think there should be a rule for all Hall of Fames. The guy that put you over has to announce you. It has to be Hogan for him. And when Sting's finally put in the Hall of Fame, it's got to be Ric Flair. It's the guy that put you over, not the guy that you beat.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. Did Flair induct Steamboat? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, he did. He inducted Steamboat.
Yeah, they certainly, they put each other over back in '89 with their great matches.
Yeah, so, it's always got to be the guy that made you, not the guy that, killed you. All right, it was only a Christmas wish, but Christmas is over. Have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks, Steve. Appreciate the call. All right, I talked about it earlier. Royal Rumble Bingo.
Yeah.
This is courtesy of my buddy Justin Henry over at WrestleCrap.com. You can check it out there and get your Royal Rumble bingo cards if you're having a Rumble party or whatever tomorrow. But pretty much a 5x5 grid, and you just mark off various events that may occur at the Rumble tomorrow. Whether and there's a whole list of them here: crowd chanting "We want Brian," Cody and Goldust dissension, the last two men have a stare down. Any announcer asks who's going to WrestleMania. The Twitter crawl popping up. Just all kinds of Del Rio and Rey Mysterio continue their eternal feud. A surprise entrant of someone from the Attitude Era. The announcer's getting a fact wrong. Yeah, that'll pop up pretty often. Michael Cole yelling vintage. Crowd chanting "You still got it" at an oldie who does two moves. I don't know. I never liked the "You still got it" chants because, in a lot of cases, the guys never really lost it.
Yeah.
They chanted it at Jericho, and I'm thinking he was gone for like 2 months, maybe 3. How much did he really lose in that time? Maybe his voice a little bit from doing all that, heavy metal singing with Fozzy, but that's about it. I don't know. So check that out, WrestleCrap.com. Certainly a lot of fun there. At least I'm looking forward to it. Now, Steve mentioned WrestleMania. Apparently, Roddy Piper wants a match at Mania.
Oh, really?
Against Hogan. Yeah, Roddy Piper appearing on Steve Austin's podcast and not only talking about facing Hogan at WrestleMania 30, but implied that WWE is considering it.
Yeah, again, you gotta, Hogan is not gonna do a match. He can't take any more bumps. And if he does, then the
liability's through the roof.
Yeah, it's like he's not going to do another match, and I'm not saying WWE would do it anyway, but you got to understand, you give him one more thing and he could be done.
Well, I think they're trying to do the whole WrestleMania full circle type deal, but and trying to find a way to put, because Piper and Hogan were part of the original one.
Yeah, but it's
but I don't think they're getting Mr. T or Paul Orndorff back for the other part of it.
It's just Mr. T's special guest, paid a fool. I don't know. That was a bad. I apologize to all the viewers for that.
And listeners.
Yeah. That was just bad. But see, Hogan can't take any more bumps. He's had too many knee surgeries and he can barely pull himself into the ring, let alone take any more bumps.
Certainly makes sense. All right, I mentioned it earlier. Let me give you a little more details on it. Monster Factory Pro Wrestling. Looking forward to it tonight. 541 Mantua Avenue down in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Tickets are just $12. Show starts at 7 tonight. Doors open at 6:30. You'll see Monster Factory Wrestling heavyweight champion Mark Cruz defending against QT Marshall. You got the tag champions, the Legion of Anarchy in action. Also Grey Wolf, Mike Spanos, Shuffle and Shaheem Ali, Joe Gibson, and a bunch more. Also scheduled to appear, former TNA superstar Jesse Sorensen. Never know what they're doing down there at the factory. Last month, or a couple weeks ago, actually, they had Colt Cabana and Cliff Compton there.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun checking them out. So for more info on the show, go to monsterfactory.org, and you'll certainly see me down there. Make sure I got to get a nap in, though. Also, WWE Hall of Fame building. It might actually happen as it's possibly part of the TV negotiation package. Yeah, NBC Universal considering the idea of creating a WWE Hall of Fame building at Universal Studios theme park in Orlando, Florida, as a way to entice Vince McMahon to keep his television programming with them. It's like trying to sweeten the pot, I guess.
Yeah.
NBC Universal's exclusive negotiating period ends February 1st, which I believe is next Saturday. The story also stating, the New York Post story, that NBCU has the right to match other offers if WWE strikes a deal with another company. Interesting. All right, looking forward to the Rumble tomorrow night. And to get you just that little bit more geared up, got the montage package. Gotta love the montage package. And we're going to close out with that. We'll be back next week, an abbreviated show, only till 12:45 next week, but we'll have your Rumble recap and all other kinds of insanity and who knows what else. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly. Enjoy the Rumble.
Welcome, everyone, to the World Wrestling Federation. Welcome to the Cup Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario. Yes, this is the Royal Rumble.
It's time to rumble! It's time for the Royal Rumble, where it's every man for himself.
Kidding me? Oh my God! Triple H's expression told